I want you to sit and marinate on this phrase for just 10 seconds. The perfect expression of a human takes many shapes. I answered the calling to my own spiritual awakening 5 or 6 years ago, took on the continual journey of self-discovery and inner work. And since then, I found out that I get triggered by fucking everything. It is absolutely out of control how much you realize about yourself when you start embracing yourself. And unfortunately for me, most of these triggers came from something that I love the most, which is creativity, art, and music. Over time, I became unhappy with the gigs that I was playing, what was making me money. I became exhausted with being fed all kinds of content about how to market yourself the best as a musician or a songwriter, all the different courses and strategies that everyone seemed to have the answer to, just unloading on you every single second you were on social media or scrolling through your phone, just getting fed all this bullshit and hogwash of what the best way to approach your marketing was just draining the shit out of me. I became stressed about the amount of money that it took for me to produce, to work with the sound engineers that I loved working with, to get the mixes and masters done. For me, people would always say, oh, you can get all of this done. Everyone's got a studio in their basement with the digital age. Everyone's got Ableton and stuff like that. For me, it's always been a collaborative thing. So it takes making sure people are compensated. And that would continue to stress me out because I was putting all this money in out of pocket. I was fearful of not being able to keep up with the rest of the race. The same thing goes as the music marketers. The amount of genuine talent you get fed and the amount of genuine talent that is out there to see making an impact on the world is very overwhelming, and it seems like everyone is moving at this crazy snowball rate, and to keep up with that creates a lot of fear of success and a lot of fear of failure at the same time. I even started to get triggered by band practice. Just the idea of my wife asking me if we could practice for an hour a day seemed like I didn't even have time for that. And that is just such a crazy thing, because practice should be, I almost see life is a continual game of practice. And I was getting triggered by something like that. It was putting me in a dark place, and I had to get out of it. I had to create new routines, and I had to change the way that I was perceiving all of this. This happens to everyone seeking a career in their passion, their calling, their purpose. You hit many of these roadblocks, and I'm sure there's multiple interpretations of this story in different fashions and different mediums. In fact, if you do have a story of your own and you are an artist or a creative, you want to share a little bit in the comments, please leave those down there. I'd love to read them and see what other people are going through, because I know I'm not alone in this. In recognizing that my musical pursuits and my creative pursuits were becoming my best friend and worst enemy, here's what I decided to do. First of all, I stopped saying yes to everything. I know people talk at length about the power of saying no and, what you can get back, all the pain it is of being a yes man. And this is something that especially goes for playing music in live settings, especially when you start to see money coming around in your gigs. It's very hard to say no to that. Obviously, everyone's got to make a living. But we were playing these gigs that were 2.5, 3.5 hours long. They were a lot of practice to get that type of material up. This was not something that me as a songwriter was easily able to just improvise and dick around for that long and feel like it was a worthwhile entertainment. The pay would maybe be $500, but what were the audiences like? What were the environments like? It all really weighs into it. And so much of the time you're just sitting in a corner while people are having their luxurious brunches, not really paying attention to you. And there's something in the psychology of that would bear on me a lot. and it would weigh on me a lot, I guess is what I mean, that I want more participation within the performance that I'm doing. Thus, over time, I got to the point where it's okay to say no to some of these things. The amount of money that was being made was not worth the stress and strain that was going into actually getting the gear down, getting the performance done. It just seemed much more like clockwork and putting your head down and getting through the gig rather than actually having fun, feeling like you're making a difference in it. So setting new parameters on the types of gigs was a big game changer. Really just, digging into myself and recognizing what I'm comfortable doing is a big game changer as well. You have to remember that don't do anything you don't want to do. If it doesn't make you feel good doing it, are you even doing your passion anymore? Are you even pursuing your passion? When it came to the burnout that I was experiencing from content creators and music marketers and all these people with their advice on how to make an extra dollar the right way, how to be consistent with your output, and how to give audience a deeper look into your vision with your music and things like that, I had to address this clearly by recognizing that not everybody has the offer for you, and also recognizing that the doom scroll is real. It doesn't help you to sit on your phone and just see countless ways and countless angles of people trying to help you so much that you don't even know what you're getting sold on. Your brain gets scrambled at a certain point. There is a real brainwashing to the amount of media that we consume. That's a whole nother topic I'll go into on a different video at some point. But the brainwashing element of the doom scroll of social media, of ads just being pumped into our face and jammed down our throat constantly, can really fuck you up at the end of the day. And recognizing when to turn it off, when to put it down, you do feel like at a point you've fucking seen it all. So do you really need more advice? Not saying that there isn't great advice out there, but it's just like binge watching informational YouTube videos and explainers. It's like you can be explained different things very quickly over the course of an hour, but how much of that are you really going to retain? What are you going to act upon? So juggling that balance between consuming and taking action was also a huge part of being able to find that balance with all these offers out there. When it came down to finances, all of the money that needed to go in to produce, buy new equipment maybe, or just get the right people on board, the sound engineers that I like to work with, the mastering guy that I like to go to, that came down to a simple budgeting thing. It is so stupidly adulting to get into your own budget, but that's what it took. It took that responsibility. If I really cared about something that much, and I cared about the production quality that I was putting out, and I continue to put out, I was going to need to find some ways to give myself more funds, cut out some things that I was needlessly spending on, and keep an eye on that. Knowing is, they say knowing is half the battle. This is something that people really should, and I implore you to take a little responsibility in your own financial lives. It's hard to say what you need financially when you don't even know what you are doing financially. And once again, financial education is something we can go into on different videos as well. There's a whole world of how our relationship with money and currency and finance and all of this stuff is wildly out of whack, and our understanding of value gets compromised in all of that. Lastly, when it comes to productivity and content output, especially with music, you have to give yourself some grace on this. When it comes to the productivity and the consistent output that you need with content creation, especially as a musician, when you want to be so focused with your writing and you get caught up in, we got to keep making videos, we got to put out videos at a consistent rate to stay relative, to let people know what we're up to, what we're thinking in our inner minds, even if we don't have them thought out yet, seems so overbearing. And what I ultimately have to do, and what I'm even doing in this current moment, is recognizing that it really isn't about the consistency when you're thinking about an artistic pursuit. yes, let people know when you feel inspired. Nothing relates through the camera more and through social media more than when you actually have an inspired moment, some kind of breakthrough, some kind of achievement. Like when I recently got a trademark dispute figured out. Sharing that was something that people just like to see, and it engages people. Is that the overall of the music that I do and I push out there? No, but it's something that works for a social media output. But when it comes to creating the music, what I really am doing is tapping back into the essence of what interests me, going back to the source, and finding that place that really is fun again and comes to me easily, rather than getting distracted with who's putting out at such a consistent rate and what they're doing better than me, who's doing better than me, who's more talented than me. Fear is such a strong motivator. I don't even say motivator. Fear is just such a stranglehold on us that we don't even realize the subtle fears that are being projected into our lives, and we're digesting and having this terrible time working with, just to say like, oh, if I don't put out a new music video with this song within the next 14 days, am I going to totally tank? My band is going to totally tank. My music and my artistic pursuits are going to completely flop. It's just grace that we need to give ourselves back, and a genuine aspect that we should tap back into of what is the most important thing. Is it the projection out there? Is it what other people are seeing? Or is it, can you create from an authentic place again and find that genuineness in yourself through creativity? I believe that when we put ourselves into our genuine nature and we push against some of that resistance that we have to putting out more, we will be able to address those triggers and learn from them. Actually, we do not need to sit around and be crippled by these things. As long as we take action and we look for solutions and we constantly keep the needle moving forward, we do find ways to resolve solutions. But that's what our game is in this life, is constantly walking into the unknown, knowing that there are answers for us, but not being belittled and withered away by the fears that we face along those pursuits. So returning to that statement at the beginning of the perfect expression of a human takes many shapes, recognize that where you are at is exactly what you should be doing. If you are learning, you're moving forward, it may not be this grandiose thing that you had in your mind when you first began. It may not be the wildest of your dreams. You may not have achieved all of your goals. You may be humbly doing what you're meant to be doing.